Hey guys, right, today we're going to look at bridge and roll and what movements we need to be able to do them, how we're going to work into them, where we need to be practicing to get our strong points. It's the quickness of the movement and the fluidity that we need. That's what we need to focus on. So, when we do our upas and we spend lots of time and we're here, we do an awful lot of bridges. Yeah? So we bring our feet in nice and close to our buttocks and we bridge up. Yeah, that's what we're teaching people. Bridge up. Nice and powerful, up. Yeah? And then we spend a lot of time going up, over onto our shoulder. Up, over onto our shoulders. Because that's the movement that we're looking for. Because we want to be able to, you grab the arm, pull it in, trap the leg, we come up, and then we come over. Yeah? Ultimately, that is the position that we want to go for, that we want to be in. But it can be quite difficult if you struggle to move. So the more bridges we can do, the better they are. So we're here just practicing with our bridge. Nice and strong legs. Anything you can do, squats and lunges, brilliant. You can do squats and lunges as well. Make your legs nice and strong because you want that power. Yeah, but you need that from a strong core and a strong back as well. So we're up here, up. So I've pulled in here, I've trapped the leg, and I'm coming up and I'm going over. So I'm up, I'm over onto my shoulder, yeah? And then here, one leg comes down and the other comes up. And we use their momentum to go with it. But the problem we can find with this is if people don't have that momentum to go with them and they're not sure, they're brand new, they're not really sure what they're doing at the moment. So we're coming here, so we've bridged up, I've got hold of them, got the arm, trap the leg. I've let my body come back down again because I'm going to force up again. Their head is going to come down, and then I'm going to come and I'm going to roll over onto my shoulder, and I'm going to roll over onto my side. And I'm here, and I'm going to set up nice and tall because now I'm in their guard, which obviously is good as bad. So a lot of this, like I said, it's all to do with your core, it's all to do with your legs. It's having all of the movements and the components at the same time working. Yeah, so up, so they've ducked over here. Okay, I've grabbed that arm, I've pulled it in, I've moved and I've trapped that leg. Yeah, which again, if we're thinking about it, to be able to move your leg, you have to be strong with the rest of your body. Yeah, so if my leg's up here, I need to know I'm distributed properly everywhere else. So I've trapped the leg, I've trapped the arm, and I'm going to come up and over. I'm going to set up nice and tall. So probably out of frame there, but the whole idea is that we need to be putting ourselves into these positions more regularly and practicing them to know with our legs and our hips and where they need to go. One that really stuck out to me the other day, we were doing back escapes. And I know this isn't Mank, but it's just a little explanation. So we were doing these back escapes. So we were having to, I'm trying to think what we were doing now. So we had to scooch our bum down and that's it. So our top of our body was coming, so our shoulders are coming to the ground, our bum was coming over to the side, and then we had to come up, which is fine when you haven't got somebody underneath you. When somebody's underneath you, that's quite difficult to do. So if we're here, we've got our body out, we've turned in this direction, we're having to use our legs and scissor them to come up. That's where I think we need to spend our time, is thinking of things. How can we increase our core, So for me, a great one that I teach is I like being able to come into a plank and then we just turn onto the side, arm comes up, dip the hips, come back up. In the other direction, arm comes up, dip the hips, coming up. Coming back into plank. Over to the side, up, dip, coming back up, over. All of these movements put together make it a lot easier for us to get between our positions. Another one is obviously in guard. We're on our back, we're here. We need to be thinking we've got our legs wrapped around someone. We need to be able to sit up quick. Yeah, we need to be able to use them to pull ourselves up, but we need to be able to come up. And I think if you can't do your sit-ups, your pull-ups, not pull-ups, sorry, but like pulling yourself up against someone, that's always going to be difficult. And a lot of that is our core. And a good one for this is being able to just move side to side like this. You know, can I reach down? Can I use my core for this? No? These little movements here. You know, can I bring my legs in? Can I push my legs out? Nice and comfortably. Is my core engaged? Is my back engaged? Because if I'm pulling somebody in and pushing them out inside my guard, I'm not, you know, I'm not using too much. I can squeeze my legs, I can hold them, and then I can move them around. But I need to be able to have that movement in my own hips and my own legs and ability to be able to move them around. And obviously back control. That's one of the biggest things. You think if you've got your hooks in, seatbelt grip, or you're trying for a choke, you want to be sat up against them, hugging them in. You don't want them flattening you down to the ground because it's harder to get anything in. You want to be up, nice and tight, hugging them in. So you need to be able to sit like this for a little bit, where my feet are up, my knees are up, I've got my core engaged, and I can sit at this angle. If I haven't got that core strength, I'm just going to fall back and they're going to come with me. And that's no good because then I'm just being flattened, especially if they're a lot bigger than I am. So it's up here. It's that core here that we need. So I'm here, I'm up. I'm moving with them. So wherever they're going, I need to either be able to move them as well. I also need to be able to move my legs, depending on the size of the person. So if I've got hold of them, say that I've got hold of the collar, I'm going for a bow and arrow. So I've got hold of this part here. This leg has to come over the top of them. This one has to come out the side, around the top. I have to be able to move this direction and then pull them down and thrust forward. So there's so many movements that go with what we do. I think maybe when we're in class, we're not breaking down all of the movements and thinking, we're thinking where our bodies need to go to be able to grab something, to move something. We're not thinking of the progress that if we were to be putting in the effort to be more mobile and train the strength that we need for these, that's going to be a lot easier. So you think a bow and arrow, I'm going to get the dummy. There we go. Right, you think if we've got the dummy and we're here and we're holding on, okay, I need to be able to, I know they're not putting any weight or pressure on me, but I still need to be hugged in like this. Yeah. So I've got everything in nice and tight. I'm probably trying to choke them like this to start with. They're gripping hold of me and they're not going to let me. Yeah. So from here, I need to be able to bring one leg out and one leg in. This leg needs to cross over the front of them. I need to be able to grab hold of something here, or at least the leg here. So my body and my core is still moving. This leg, whilst all of this is still, this leg needs to be able to swing out over the top. And then I need to be able to thrust as well so that I'm choking them. So, and all of this at the same time is whilst I'm still sat up, because if I suddenly start like that, I'm not gonna, you know, if it's on deep enough, it's choked them. If I'm too low, I haven't got that ability to sit up, sort out up here, because at the moment I go for a bow and arrow, you've got to think they're going to be on my arm. They're going to be trying to look up at me and get my arm over the top of their head. So same again. So we've got hooks in, got hold of them in really nice and tight like this. And I'm thinking, okay, where am I going to go with this? So for me, I'm already thinking, I'm in here, I'm threatening them with this, so they're worried about that arm. I'm grabbing hold of the trouser, I'm coming across, that one comes over the top. Okay, so my body is sat up whilst it's doing most of the movement. No different if I'm going to go for an armbar. So if I'm here, I can't get here because they're fighting too much. I'm here, I'm holding this. This is going to come across and bring that leg over. Okay? And to be fair, I don't even need to go all the way down to the ground. So we're here. I'm holding on. I've hooked onto this one nicely because they're fighting against that one. So I've hooked onto here. I'm pulling them back in, bringing this leg across, this one on top. Oh, it's got its head stuck. We're here, align myself nice and straight, and then down. It's probably on by there rather than me needing to come all the way down here. So it's finding what works, but for us to be able to do all of those movements, I need my core, because if I haven't got my core or my back strength or there's so many muscles in the body that I don't think we realize how everything is so connected to each other. It's really difficult to not train everything. Like if you're looking to just do certain muscle groups when you're at the gym, I think you're going to struggle with different mobility in and out of all of these positions. So what we were talking about earlier with our side control. So we're here and I'm in side control. They're all nice and here. Yeah. And as I was saying, we're going to lean on our forearm, pull this up, and I'm going to slide through. Yeah. And then obviously if they're wiggling and moving, I may have to come back up to this position where my leg came over the top. Or we're here, we're kind of coming around, we're moving. I'm going to bring that one back in. Yeah. So it's finding what works for you in different positions, but at least I know I have those two go-tos in either way that I'm going to work them. Let's see how well he does at. Oh. Come on. There we go. So currently he's in my guard. So when we were saying earlier about moving side to side, I want to be able to move up and over. Yeah, for the hip bump. Okay, so he's here. He's sat up nice and tall. I want to be able to move. So I'm going to come up, grab hold of this arm. I'm going to post off my back leg and over. And the only reason I can do the majority of that is because I'm stronger in different areas. In my core, I work an awful lot. Again, if we're here and we're in mount, and I can be down here, I could be like this, be in the skydive. I need to know where I'm going to be able to go. So I need to be able to move up nice and high. One of my favourites. I love coming up to S mount, but I need to be able to move into that with different positions. I'm either going to take his back and be up, or I can go for an arm bar. Depends where you are to what situation you're in and what you want to do.